I'm honored to introduce Valedictorian of the class of 2015, David Kozack. The tradition in selecting the valedictorian certainly honors him, but also says a lot about the class who chose him. I've had the pleasure of teaching a lot of these students. Let me extend my own congratulations and well wishes for your future steps. Mitch sets the bar high when it comes to hard work. Having taught and coached him through his years at McKinnon Park, I had good perspective to witness this. In phys ed class, he would often finish with a sweat-drenched shirt, yet still have energy to help put away equipment. During volleyball practice, he often pleaded for more instruction. Mr. Moores, how can I improve my spike? Mr. Moores, how can I improve my serve? Mitch mastered the serve, going an entire season without missing one. As for his spike, it came to a point where I had taught him everything I know. He had soaked up all of my knowledge and was left with just one last lesson I myself have yet to master. Mitch, I said, you just need to grow a little taller. I should have seen it coming. Still hungry for excellence, Mitch asked, Mr. Moores, how can I grow a little taller? Mitch possesses two distinct qualities which were demonstrated through his interactions with peers and teachers. He is humble and grateful. At the end of his ed class, before going to change out of his sweat-drenched shirt, Mitch would take a moment to look me in the eye and thank me for the class we had just had. Throughout the semester, he rarely missed this act of gratitude. It was a consistent reminder to be grateful for the opportunities we are all given. Mitch is a diverse individual. He thrived in his academics, always prioritizing that he was a student athlete, student first. This brought him results as he achieved the Ontario Scholar status with his grades. He represented McKinnon Park at SASA for volleyball and badminton, also competed in beach volleyball tournaments. He was honored with the Coaches Award for volleyball last year because of the versatility he brought our team. Mitch played at the casual Acoustic Friday music program at McKinnon Park, yet his guitar skills are not so casual. He has his Royal Conservatory Grade 2 for classic guitar, and man, can he rip on the strings. Mitch served his community by volunteering at the local pool for almost 200 hours and is now an employed lifeguard. Mitch also dabbles with card magic. What began as a hobby to entertain and engage his peers escalated into performing improv, on-the-spot magic tricks behind a camera for the school's video announcements. He got such a great response, he earned more and more airtime, to the point of becoming high school famous. Rumor has it, students approached Mitch in the halls for autographed cards. Now that he's valedictorian, sure I'm glad I've got mine. Ladies and gentlemen, graduating class, it's my honor to introduce your valedictorian, David Kozack.
Thank you for the introduction and kind words, Mr. Morse. First off, I would like to thank my loving parents, sister, and grandparents for coming here to support me tonight. On behalf of the student body, I would like to thank all the faculty members for impacting each and every one of us in positive ways. I would also like to thank all the parents here tonight. If it wasn't for their support, none of us would be here today. It feels like just yesterday when we were sitting in our grade 8 graduation and starting to have butterflies in our stomach when we were thinking of the whole idea of a new, much bigger school filled to the brim with students we had never seen before, and teachers who are grade 8 teachers made out to be extremely mean and extremely unforgiving about marks. We're were all excited and worried for the entire summer before grade 9 started. I was terrified of being stuffed into a locker and being beaten up by seniors. Then the day came. We walked into the school, which would be like our second home for the next 4 years. Walked down the halls and looked around at all the tall, older students who seemed to have it all figured out, and walked down towards my first class, and then I realized I was lost and had been walking around in circles for the past 15 minutes and had to be escorted to my first class by a teacher. My first class was music with Miss Amos, and Miss Amos gave us some wise words before sending us back into the halls with all those scary grade 12 students. She said, "Keep your elbows out." That made me even more worried than I already was, and I did keep my elbows out. But as grade 9 continued, we all found that our elbows started to move closer to our sides as we became more comfortable with our surroundings and met more students and teachers who helped make grade 9 fun overall. And then grade 10 hit, and we realized that this whole high school thing, it's not that bad. We managed to make it through grade 9 without having the seniors murder us, and now we're not at the bottom of the food chain anymore. We're well on our way to becoming grade 12 students. Grade 10 was pretty much a blur to me, and I cannot remember a lot of things that happened that year. We were in that awkward middle stage where we were above the grade 9s on the food chain, but the grade 11s and 12s still ruled the school. In grade 10, we had more choices for our classes, new mandatory classes that we had to take all together. One of those mandatory classes was grade 10 history, and when I walked into that classroom, I was a little bit confused. I asked myself, why is there a student sitting in the teacher's desk? Then I found out the shocking news that was our teacher, Mr. Steinbeck. He taught us all a lot during that class, and we all learned to appreciate different Canadian musicians, who he would show us daily. As the grade 10 year started to draw to a close and went smooth, a lot of us had ideas about what we wanted to do for a living. Then the year from hell came upon us. Grade 11. Grade 11 was the biggest switch academically. We no longer had one single math class and one single science class, but we had 2 different math classes we could take and 3 different science classes. We thought that having academic math and science in the same semester was difficult in grade 9 and 10, but then having two sciences and a math in one semester, and had English with Mr. Pudwell, the coach of the football team, rumor was that he had a very unique way of motivating us to do our projects on time. I must say that Mr. Pudwell really whipped me into shape, and I do thank him for that. As the year went on and the homework started to pile up, we all either longed for the days of grade 9 and 10 when it was easier, or we just prayed for the next 2 years to fly by. As grade 11 went on and we reached the halfway mark, we realized that high school was coming to a close soon, and we soon needed to figure out what we wanted to do with the rest of our lives. We started to do research and ask guidance for help, and then realized we had no clue what we wanted to do. And winning the lottery was not an option because we couldn't buy lottery tickets. We still had some time, so we let it percolate while we continued to enjoy our life as a young adolescent who was trying to figure out the remainder of our lives in just one moment. With help and plenty of reflection over the grade 11 summer, the majority of us decided on fields we'd like to pursue. The summer of grade 11 flew by, and we soon entered our final September of high school. We thought of the future, we started to reminisce about past experiences, and many of us started to endure the hardest and most stressful part of high school. We had to make sure we looked perfect. We talked the talk, we walked the walk. We worked so hard to make sure that they'd notice us. We visited them, we listened to them speak. We started to stay up late at night and ask ourselves, am I good enough for them? What happens if they say no? But there must be other options. Then the fateful day comes when you find out that you weren't accepted to university. But the joke was on them because they were your third choice anyways, and you got your first choice. Now that that worry was over, we also had to worry about prom. Prom was the topic of most conversations for all of grade 12. It was more than grades, more than graduation, and even more than what we were doing next year after high school. Prom day finally arrived, and we all looked absolutely amazing. Good job, guys. We danced, had fun, lost the prom king vote, and we talked to some great friends that we have made over the past 4 years. Only a few hours later, it was all over, and no one knew what to talk about anymore, until graduation started to be our focuses. Over the past 4 years, we, the graduating class, have a lot of accomplishments to be proud of. Our football team had a flawless season, won the championship and the Hall Nor Bowl this year. Girls hockey had a great performance this year and placed very well at OFSA. Men's lacrosse team won OFSA for the 2nd year in a row, and the girls lacrosse team finished with a strong silver medal. We also had very successful high school challenges over the past 4 years. Our video announcements couldn't have been any better. Crime Stoppers breakfasts were a lot of fun and managed to raise a lot of money. And most importantly, during Mr. Duff's last year at McKinnon Park, the golf team, which we hear so much about, did so well at OFSA. And Craig Boom Boom Stefrak represented McKinnon Park very well. That brings us to now. There are 600 plus people all here brought together to witness a loved one's evolution from childhood to full-fledged adulthood. It may feel like the end to a lot of students today, but I see it as only the beginning. It is the beginning of greatness for our generation. Some of us who are sitting in this room may become doctors, police officers, lawyers, tradesmen, video game designers. Even 1 or 2 of us might make it to Hollywood or have their own show in Vegas. Some of us will have families with 2 or 3 children, and some of us will decide, man, I really hate children. No matter what happens to any of us, we will all make a difference. We will make the world better for the next generation. But if we want to better the world, we have to take the first step into the real world and leave behind the memories and friendships that we have acquired over the past 4 years here at McKinnon Park. I leave you now with a quote from a man who's named Dennis Wilson. He was the drummer of the Beach Boys. He wrote a song during the 1970s called Farewell, My Friend. Farewell, my friend, my beautiful friend, farewell. You take the high road, and I'll take the low road, and we'll meet again. I'll see you at the reunion. Thank you.